All right, I'm going to show you guys how you would actually send a cap agreement for that signature for the third party. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is actually how to search a lead in the Amazon portal. So I'm going to go here to this lead. This is a Q3 lead. I'm going to copy the address. I'm going to go into the Amazon key portal here. I'm going to paste the address. It's not always going to populate with that full address you paste, so I just start deleting some of it, and I usually delete it back to the street name. If things are ever not populating for you guys, and it's like a drive, try to spell out drive or spell out northeast, northwest, north, whatever it may be. Sometimes you kind of have to play around with it for it to pop up. This one just popped up for me right here. So I'll click on this. And the first thing I'm going to do when I'm doing any kind of cap in the field is I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure that this cap agreement has, or that the third party has not been signed for. So if you go down right here, it says capped opt-in false. So I know that that has not been signed yet. So just make sure you guys check here first for anything that you're working on. I always just make sure and double check before I go out in the field which properties I'm going to, or if I'm in the field, I always just pull it up before I go inside. It's also nice just to have this pulled up before you actually go speak to them so you can see what there was on file. Sometimes there'll be information, sometimes there won't, but if there is, it's always nice to walk in and just be like, hey, is Andy still working here? I'm trying to reach out to him about the Amazon Key for Business program. This is where you're going to find any of that information. So now that I see that that has not been signed, you guys are going to see where it'll say like last contacted date. You're going to see a lot of the 3P sent date. Don't ever worry about that. It's only a matter if it's been signed or not. So unless it was like extremely recent, maybe reach out to me, but you shouldn't be running into any of that. But there are going to be a lot of these that have been sent and worked on, and that's why now we have a lot more people working in the field and hands-on to get these things taken care of. There's a lot of new property managers. There's a lot of different movement in the property management industry. So a lot of these things change. So once you figure out that this is all good to go, if there is a new contact, first thing you're gonna do, which I would say probably 75% of these have to be changed for the contact. So you're gonna go here and you're gonna go add new contact. The first thing that I ever do is I go into the email and I always type their email out first. Once you type out their email out first, sometimes they'll auto-populate and it'll drop down right here for you. And you can just click on that email link and it'll auto-fill the rest of the stuff. So I always do the email first and then I fill out the rest of the stuff. You always want to make sure that you have the authorized decision maker. Otherwise it won't go to the right, it won't be sent out. For email type, just individual, first name, last name, management. Sometimes it's going to tell you need to update the property. Not always, sometimes it's going to happen. If that happens, you'll go over here, just hit the tab, edit property, and it's going to tell you all the things that it wants you to do. One of the biggest things that it'll tell you is to go back and name the management company. If you don't know the management company and cannot find the management company, just put the property name, or if you don't have that either, just do the street address. But that's where you guys are going to find all this. Once all those things are updated, you'll hit save. And then the other thing that I just want to make sure you guys are doing when you add a contact, make sure over here all that information transferred over. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes, you know, if there's a technical issue in the background, it won't transfer over. So just make sure you guys are always paying attention to those things. Once you know all of those things are updated, you'll just go to send 3P. This is another way to make sure it's going to the right person. Right here, it's going to have the name and the email. Make sure that it's being sent to the person that's going to be signing. So once you verify that, you're going to go to this, hit next. Now, let's say you have a portfolio or you have multiple addresses on a property that are separate standalone buildings. This is where you guys are going to add those addresses. So you'll go up here and you'll add that address right here. You can just type in either the property name or address. I'm just using one that I know off the top of my head. And then boom, I can hit that it'll add it on there. You can add up to, I'm not sure if they changed it yet, but typically 60 at max at a time, and then send those over. So this is where you'll add addresses for portfolios or for multiple addresses on a property. After that's all done, you'll send it off. They're going to get an email that says action required on their end, and it's going to come directly from Amazon. So make sure that they know that, and that's why they can search for it. Sometimes it does take a little bit for it to get through to them if they have blockers. If they're not receiving it, just have them log into a DocuSign or into DocuSign with their email, and it should fall right in there. If they're still not seeing it after a little bit, you can always try another email. Please do try to use the email that they need, that they're going to be using on file for that property first and foremost. Worst case scenario, though, just send it off to a different email.